Hello, welcome to the Parent and Community Engagement Foundational Training. To make the best use of this presentation, you will need the activity guide and the Parent Engagement Framework, Engaging Parents in Early Childhood Collaborations document. If you have not downloaded these documents yet, please do so now. Also, please note that there will be an opportunities for you to stop the training and reflect on what you've learned, so you might want something to write on nearby. This parent and community engagement training is the fifth in a series of 7 foundational trainings that will be available to you. It will be followed by workforce and facilities. There will be a list of resources at the end of this training for those of you who want to explore more in-depth information. We have 3 objectives for today's training: to learn about parent engagement roles, to gain ideas for creating an inclusive and supportive environment for parents, and consider the role of parent engagement in the regional scan process. Before we get started, I want to share the agenda for the rest of the training. We've completed the welcome and introduction portion of the training. Next, we'll cover the parent engagement framework, parent engagement roles, parenting with parents, and engaging parents in the regional scan, and then finally the closing. Please pause the training to think about the following questions. What's happening in this cartoon? What does this cartoon have to do with community systems work? And why do you think it's important to engage parents in community systems work? Parents are often connected to multiple programs and have a better perspective for what is working for them. They are the most impacted by decisions that are made concerning their children, and they are experts on their families and communities. You may be familiar with this slide if you've participated in previous trainings. However, we'd like to remind everyone about who we are and what we do. We're the Community Systems Statewide Supports, or CS3 team at Illinois Action for Children. We provide training and technical assistance to local early childhood collaborations, to regional councils throughout Illinois. Our aim is to ensure that local communities and regions are working to help children prenatal to 8 to receive the support they need by building the capacity of community collaborations and regional community systems to continuously improve early local and regional early childhood systems. We'll be using core components of the community systems development process to support the work at the regional level. Family engagement is so valuable that it has been baked into all aspects of Birth to Five's Illinois' work and goals. So let's review Birth to Five action and family council goals that can be found on the Birth to Five website. The goals are providing a statewide mechanism to engage local stakeholders, gathering family opinion, creating a strategic plan that clearly identifies the need for expansion of quality early learning in every region, and enabling local residents to come together and address their early childhood needs within their own communities. We will now review the parent engagement framework. As we mentioned before, the CS3 team aims to support community systems development for collaborations in regions. Last year, we created a parent engagement framework for community systems. Birth to Five Illinois recognized an alignment in our framework that correlates to the work at the regional level. We have a series of resources, including a parent engagement handbook, engaging parents in early childhood collaborations. Most of the ideas in the handbook can be applied to the regional community systems work. For the purposes of today's training and the regional council's work, you can replace the word collaborations with action councils. Parent engagement results in an early childhood system that is co-created and co-maintained by parents and early childhood stakeholders to provide equitable, high quality, accessible services to all children and families. During this training, we will review how to move through the parent engagement framework by using the theory of change. The Community Systems, or CS3 Parent Engagement Theory of Change, starts with clarity and commitment. It's important that we are clear on what we collectively mean by parent engagement and committing resources to support engagement. Intentional engagement helps set us up to identify and execute family engagement roles for parents. And then we partner with parents and make sure they're equipped with what they need to carry out their engagement role and that our spaces are inclusive and welcoming for parents. Then there's focus change. Focus change helps us identify what's working, what's not working, and create possible solutions to system change problems. And all of this leads to equity. We'll go through each step on the theory of change by starting with how clarity and commitment are achieved. CS3 uses the Head Start definition of parent, meaning all adults who interact with early childhood systems in support of their child, including but not limited to biological, adoptive, and foster parents, grandparents, legal and informal guardians, uncles, aunts, and adult siblings. When we say parent, when talking about parent engagement, we're referring to any adult that shows up in support of their child. Now we're going to take a look at the early childhood spheres of parent engagement. This graphic is part of our parent engagement resources. It indicates what parents have influence to impact when they become engaged at each level of the early childhood system. In our experience, parents usually begin their engagement journey in the self and family sphere with roles such as potential early learning client, adult learner, and first teacher. As their children become participants in early childhood programs, they may take that role and that of volunteer and or partner. Our framework covers engagement in the community systems and policy sphere, that's the green sphere, where collaborations and action councils tend to operate. Community systems work is different from programs and services, and so parent engagement will also be different. In the green sphere, we see the various roles parents can play at the community systems and policy level. We will learn more about these roles further in the training, but at this time, we're going to look at a video on parent engagement core beliefs. As you watch this video created by CS3, think about what core beliefs stand out to you. The core beliefs are available in your activity guide for reference.
Número 1. Los padres tienen en mente los mejores intereses de sus hijos. Tienen derecho a participar en todas las decisiones que les afecten directamente a ellos, a sus familias y a sus comunidades.
2, parents are essential partners at every level of early childhood systems, in programs and in community systems, development and work.
Número 3. La participación de los padres ocurre en el contexto de las relaciones.
Number 4. Parent leadership is an important aspect of parent engagement. Parents, children, families, programs, and systems benefit when parents grow as leaders.
5. Existen obstáculos institucionales, sistémicos y estructurales a la participación y asociación de los padres en los sistemas de la primera infancia. Es responsabilidad de la colaboración eliminar los obstáculos a la participación y asociación de los padres en todos los niveles de este sistema.
Number 6, parents and families are not all the same. They come from different configurations, from various circumstances, and with diverse interests. We must be prepared to meet parents where they are.
Número 7. Para lograr resultados equitativos para los niños y sus familias, es necesario involucrar a los padres que son representativos de las comunidades a las que sirve la colaboración.
Number 8. Everyone in the collaboration has a role and responsibility in championing parent engagement. Parent engagement is everyone's work.
9. La participación sostenible de los padres requiere recursos suficientes.
Our beliefs shape how we engage with parents and families. While we individually hold beliefs around parent engagement, it's going to be helpful to collectively think about how parents will be engaged in this work because your beliefs will be reflected in the process as well as the outcomes. At this time, pause the training to reflect on the following questions. What is a core belief that stood out to you? And what purpose do beliefs play in our lives and work? Please refer to the core beliefs in your reference guide if needed. So why do we engage parents? Parent engagement in community systems work leads to better outcomes for children and parents. Specifically, we engage parents to help support recruitment and enrollment in programs, support family well-being, and inform changes to systems by hearing from parents about what's working and not working for them. For the purposes of completing the regional scan, parents will mostly be engaged to help inform systems change, which involves hearing and learning about what's working and not working to better serve parents and families. Let's review how we define parent engagement. We define parent engagement in the regional community systems work as both a process and an outcome. As a process, parent engagement is a process by which parents inform and influence their regional action council's priorities, strategies, and decision-making. It requires an intentional effort by the action council to provide parents with the opportunity and supports needed to participate. As an outcome, ideal parent engagement is successfully achieved when parents and action council members build effective partnerships and share responsibility, expertise, and/or leadership in their regional council and its work. Being clear on what parent engagement means increases the probability of parents remaining engaged and successful outcomes. At this time, pause the training to reflect on the following question. What words or ideas stand out to you about the parent engagement definition? Once you are clear on why you want to engage parents and what you mean by parent engagement, the next step is to allocate resources. Resources are a stock or supply of money, materials, staff, and/or other assets that can be drawn on by a person or organization in order to function effectively. Please pause the training to think about the following question. What are some resources that can support parent engagement in your community or region? Here are some additional effective parent engagement resources. You may have even had some of these on your list. Parent engagement leads. This is a person that's typically a staff person responsible for leading parent engagement efforts. Then there's professional development, parent compensation, stipends, translation and interpretation, refreshments, childcare, transportation, and meeting supplies. In Appendix E in the Parent Engagement Handbook, there's additional information about resources. It covers recommendations for setting stipend guidelines and pooling resources in an environment of scarce resources. Please pause the training to think about the following question. What are some resources Birth to 5 have to support parent engagement? To recap, in this section, we went through the steps involved in establishing clarity and commitment for parent engagement. It's important to know why parents are being engaged and ensure they are engaged in a way that aligns with the intended outcomes and available resources. The next step on the theory of change are opportunities for engagement. Clearly stated roles and responsibilities for parents are easier to plan for and easier for parents to navigate. Although there's many ways to engage parents, we've identified 4 roles working across the state. They are family and community expert, community systems parent leader, outreach ambassador, and advocate. While all 4 roles are important, for the purposes of conducting the regional scan, we're going to focus on the roles of family and community expert and community systems parent leader. I want to note that the roles listed here are not Birth to 5 staff. These are parents engaging in this work statewide. We'll briefly discuss the outreach ambassador and advocate roles, and if you'd like to learn more about those in depth, you can read all about them in the parent handbook. Every group doing community systems work should be engaging parents in the role of family and community expert. To engage a parent in the role of family and community expert is to listen to parents about their individual family and community strengths, needs, and experiences with the early childhood system. In this role, parents share their expertise and feedback through a variety of ways, such as surveys, focus groups, small in-person meetings, etc. It's a community-wide strategy to hear from parents directly. Please take a moment to pause the training to reflect on the following question. Why do you think this role is called family and community expert? Next, we have the community systems parent leader role. In this role, parents actively participate in community systems work. Some engagement examples are becoming members in their local Birth to 5 Action Council and participating in their local Birth to 5 community family council. I would like to emphasize that an invitation to participate is not enough. It's important to build capacity and support parents in this role. Community system parent leaders typically engage in decision-making, share their lived experiences, listen to and represent community children and families, work with other parents to identify priority community systems change needs, and then engage and mentor other parents. Outreach ambassadors intentionally talk to and listen to other parents in their community. As an organized, trained, and well-supported cohort, outreach ambassadors plan and carry out peer-to-peer outreach, including getting community feedback, offering service referral, inviting parents to engage, planning outreach strategies, tallying and making sense of outreach data. We are not focusing on this role because it requires a considerable amount of training, support, and rollout time that regional councils might not have. We want you to be aware of the role, but it's not our priority or focus today. Then there is the advocate role. In this role, parents participate in advocacy and/or community organizing efforts on issues that will improve the early childhood system. It often consists of families telling their story of how they have been or could be impacted by a specific issue. Again, this role is also not our focus today, as it also requires a lot of support and time to implement successfully. At this time, you're going to engage in a parent role match. In this activity, you will match the family and community expert role or community system parent role to the correct scenario in the parent role match found in the activity guide. There is a copy of all the parent roles in the activity guide for your reference. Please pause the training at this time to complete the parent role match activity and resume the training when you are finished. Let's review the answers for the parent role match activity. The answer for the first scenario is community systems parent leader. In this scenario, Juan is an active member in his local action council where he votes, makes decisions to benefit his community and family, and shares council meeting information with parent groups in his community. The answer for the second story or scenario is family and community expert. Amira completes a short survey sharing her early childhood experiences and preferences. The answer for the third scenario is family and community expert. Sharice attends a parent cafe where she is asked to discuss access and obstacles to participate in early intervention. The fourth scenario's answer is community systems parent leader. Anna and Maria are parent leaders in their action council where they've been asked to review and provide feedback to improve the regional scan. And then finally, the last scenario. The answer to this one is family and community expert. Tiffany participates in a focus group about early childhood options in her community. Our communities are not cookie cutter, therefore our programs and outreach shouldn't be either. Different demographic groups experience the system differently, and historically it has not worked for Black, Indigenous, Latinx, and other racialized groups because these systems were created for and by white people. When engaging parents, it's important to consider targeting those who have been directly impacted by the issues that needs to be addressed, reaching out to those experiencing disparities in participation rates and outcomes, and connecting with parents who are isolated and under-resourced. As you consider parents who may need to be engaged in your region and community, please pause the training to think about the following questions. Can you think of a parent demographic group experiencing program disparity or inequities in your region or community? What are some ways to engage parents from that group experiencing or from the group experiencing those inequities? Parents are best positioned to offer insight on their early childhood education and care experiences. As Action Councils gather qualitative data from parent surveys, interviews, focus groups, and or other formats, the information gathered would help present a clearer picture of what's happening in communities. If groups being engaged have been historically excluded from the early childhood system, we can conclude that those groups might need a bit of support being engaged by that system. That is why it is so important to build parents' capacity to engage by answering the following questions. What knowledge and skills do parents need to fulfill their role? And when and how will we equip parents with what they need to fulfill the role? For those involved in planning efforts to engage parents for a particular engagement role, it's important to determine and communicate with parents the goals and responsibilities of that role, as well as the supports parents will need to fulfill the role. General supports that are helpful for parents are training, coaching, and guidance, materials that are available in formats and languages parents can understand, compensation, moral support and encouragement, and eliminating obstacles for participation. Don't assume that everyone will have everything they need to fulfill the role. Ask parents where they are. To recap, in this section, we just reviewed or took a look at the steps in setting opportunities for intentional engagement. We talked about how having clearly defined parent roles and responsibilities helps us work together to support parent engagement so that everyone is on the same page. Equipping parents with what they need to fulfill the role they have taken on increases success and outcomes and the probability that the parents will remain engaged. People in general don't like to do something they aren't prepared to take on. Our next step on the parent engagement theory of change is partnering with parents. In the previous section, we talked a lot about preparing parents to take on roles, but that's only part of parent engagement. Work needs to be done to ensure that parents get the support they need to actively partner in this important work. One way to help support parents who are actively engaging in this work is by creating welcoming and inclusive environments. Parent inclusion policies helps us hold ourselves accountable to maintaining a parent-friendly environment. It's not enough to engage or invite parents to the table. We have to make sure that the table can accommodate them. You will have the opportunity to think about creating welcoming and inclusive environments by using reverse brainstorming. Reverse brainstorming is a technique that builds on our natural ability to more easily see problems than solutions. This technique is used because sometimes it can be easier to criticize and see gaps in a plan than to outline a strategy for success. You're going to use this technique to think about some effective ways to create a welcoming and inclusive space where parents will be more willing to participate. You will use reverse brainstorming to come up with a list of things regional council members could do to create a space that is not welcoming or inclusive of parents. These are considered bad ideas, and you will do this for 3 minutes. Then you're going to come up with ways to achieve the opposite of each of the bad ideas. So here's an example. One bad idea or non-inclusive practice would be starting meetings late. Another bad idea is not having translation or translated materials. You're going to list all the bad ideas for 3 minutes, and then after the 3 minutes are up, you're going to create the opposite or good ideas for each bad idea. So instead of starting meetings late, meetings will start on time. Instead of no translated materials, materials will be translated. At this time, pause the training to create your good and bad list. Make sure you resume the training when you are finished. At this time, take a moment to pause the training to reflect on the following question. Why might it be important to have these parent-inclusive policies in writing? When partnering with parents, we want to work with parents to identify and address obstacles to parent participation. We do this when we help parents access and participate in online meetings, establish convenient meeting schedules and locations, provide key materials available in formats and languages parents can understand in a timely way, use simple language by avoiding jargon and acronyms, provide childcare, support parents with transportation, and provide refreshments, meals at meetings for parents and their families. All communities are different. Determine obstacles for parents locally. To continue with the setting the table metaphor, regional councils will be making the table longer and setting it to include more people who will contribute to the work. When leadership and expertise is shared with parents, parent feedback is acted on, decision-making power is shared, and parents are included at every step of the community systems process. In this section of the CS3 Parent Engagement Theory of Change, we went through the steps on partnering with parents. Parents need to be able to partner, therefore action should be taken to help remove barriers to participation. Once parents are engaged, it's important that decision-making power is shared with them. Next, we're going to discuss engaging parents in the regional scan. The regional scan parent engagement goals are to understand parent preferences for early childhood education and care, and understand barriers parents face in accessing early childhood education and care programs and services. There are benefits to engaging parents and families, family and community experts, and parent leaders in the regional scan. There's an opportunity to learn about parent preferences for ECEC programs and services, access to early childhood education and care programs and services, barriers to access, community need and interest, policy ideas or recommendations. Learning from parent and community experts and parent leaders leads to identifying gaps in early childhood needs, making data-informed recommendations to expand services, and prioritizing system change efforts that will have the biggest impact for families. Parents are constantly asked for feedback, and they often do not know what comes from their time and expertise. Closing the information loop is important, but you also want to invite parents back to deepen their engagement. Parents may be more inclined to continue to share their personal information if they know that their participation is making a difference, especially if you plan to ask regularly. Let parents know their input is making a difference by sharing your findings and actions with them, by inviting parents to a collaboration event or meeting, giving a presentation at the setting where you ask them for feedback, sharing a one-page data summary with them, and inviting them to join the Action and/or Family Council. These are some of the ways we can continue to deepen parent engagement. In this section we focused on creating focused change. The most important part of this section is to make sure to use parent feedback to guide community systems change work. So we've reached the end of our training, but we just want to do a review of what we learned today. So today we walk you through how you can move throughout the parent engagement framework using the parent engagement theory of change by providing clarity and commitment, intentional engagement, partnership, focused change, with the ultimate goal of achieving equity where all children and families served receive equitable, high quality, accessible early childhood services. At this time, take a moment to pause the training to reflect on the following question. What is one takeaway from today's training? Here are some resources to take a deeper dive into parent engagement. If you visit partnerplanact.org, you will have access to the following supports: the Parent Engagement Handbook, parent engagement on-demand learning course, parent engagement videos, and on-demand consultation. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.